Chosen one, how long have you carried this burden, the weight of debt pressing on your shoulders, the endless cycle of working, paying, and never truly being free? You have prayed, you have asked God for a way out, but instead of relief, the struggles seem to grow. It feels like no matter what you do, you cannot escape. But what if I told you that this struggle is not a delay? What if the weight you feel is not punishment, but preparation? Most people think getting out of debt is just about money. They believe if they work harder, earn more, or find the right opportunity, everything will change. But that is not how God's kingdom works. Money itself is not the solution. If it were, people with high incomes would never be trapped in financial bondage. The truth is, debt is not just a financial issue. It is a spiritual test. And before God releases a wealth transfer into your hands, He does not just look at your bank account. He looks at your heart. Right now, God may be testing you in ways you do not even realize. The setbacks, the delays, the opportunities that seem to slip away. It is easy to think these are signs that you are failing. But what if they are signs that you are being refined? What if the struggle is a test to see if you are truly ready to handle what is coming? Because wealth in the wrong hands is not a gift. It is a burden. And only those who are prepared will step into God's financial freedom. Stay with me until the end of this message, because today I will reveal the signs that prove God is testing you for a wealth transfer. If you recognize even one of these signs in your life, it means you are closer than you think. But here is the real question. When the test comes, will you pass it? Or will you let fear keep you trapped in the cycle? Pay close attention, because what I share next may be the key that unlocks your breakthrough. Most people believe debt is just a part of life. It is normal, they say. Everyone struggles. Everyone has bills, loans, and credit payments. That is just the way the world works. Maybe you have believed this too. Maybe you have spent years trying to get ahead, only to feel like you are running in circles. The paycheck comes in, and before you can even think about saving or investing, it is already gone. Rent, groceries, car payments, medical bills, one after another, draining everything you have. You try to plan, but somehow something always comes up. And then, when you think you finally have a little breathing room, another setback hits. An unexpected expense, a broken appliance, a car repair you did not see coming. It feels like every time you take one step forward, life pushes you 2 steps back. You look at others who seem to be doing well, and you wonder, why can't that be me? Why is it that no matter how hard I try, I can't break free? And then there's the weight of owing, the weight of knowing that no matter how much you earn, there is always something pulling you back. Credit card balances, loans, past mistakes, things that seemed small at first but have now become chains, holding you in place. You pray for relief. You ask God for a way out, but nothing seems to change. And the question starts creeping in. Where is God? Why is He not answering? If He wants me to live in abundance, why am I still struggling? But what if I told you that your struggle is not the end of your story? What if I told you that your financial hardship is not a punishment, but a process, a test, a preparation? You see, God does not just give wealth. He releases it to those who are ready. He does not pour abundance into hands that are unprepared. Because without wisdom, wealth is not a blessing. It is a burden. He is not interested in quick riches that come and go. He is looking for those who can steward His resources with wisdom, faith, and purpose. And before He releases financial breakthrough, He allows a season of refining. Think about it. Before you build something great, you must lay a foundation that can support it. If the foundation is weak, no matter how tall the structure, it will collapse. In the same way, before God blesses you with increase, He strengthens what is underneath. And that strengthening, that testing, that refining, it does not always feel like a blessing. It feels like pressure. It feels like struggle. It feels like things falling apart when, in reality, they are falling into place. Right now, you may be in that season. A season where things are uncertain, where financial opportunities slip through your fingers, where every door you knock on seems to stay closed. But what if these are not signs of failure? What if they are signs that God is preparing you for something bigger? Because here is the truth. If you are still in this cycle, it is not because God has forgotten you. It is because He is waiting for you to see what is really happening. He is waiting for you to recognize the test. He is waiting for you to shift your mindset, to prepare for the next level, to pass through this season with wisdom instead of frustration. Most people miss this. They assume struggle means they are not blessed. They assume financial hardship means they are being punished. But in reality, those who are truly being prepared for wealth are the ones who face the greatest refinement. So now, I ask you, what if your struggle is not meant to break you, but to prepare you? What if you are standing at the very edge of something greater, but you cannot see it yet? Because the moment you start to recognize what is really happening, everything changes. And in just a moment, I am going to show you how to break free. For too long, you have been weighed down, feeling like you are trapped in an endless cycle of struggle. You work hard, yet the debts remain. You pray for a breakthrough, yet opportunities slip through your fingers. You try to move forward, but something always seems to pull you back. And now, you find yourself wondering if things will ever change. If God's promises of abundance are real, why does financial freedom still seem so far away? Why do others seem to rise while you remain stuck? But what if I told you that this season of struggle is not a punishment? What if I told you that what you are experiencing is not a rejection of your prayers, but the preparation for something greater? God does not release wealth into unprepared hands. He does not give abundance to those who have not been made ready to handle it. Before every breakthrough, before every financial shift, before every transformation, there is a test. Right now, you may feel like you are being stretched, like doors are closing, like the weight of your financial burdens is becoming unbearable. But what if this pressure is not meant to crush you, but to refine you? What if this moment is not the end, but the beginning of something you cannot yet see? Every great transformation begins with a choice. A moment where you realize that where you are is no longer where you are meant to be. A moment where you refuse to stay trapped in lack, where you refuse to let fear or doubt dictate your next step. Right now, you are standing at the edge of that moment. You feel it deep inside, the stirring in your spirit, the urgency, the realization that something must change. But change does not come to those who wait for it. Change comes to those who decide to step forward. God's wealth transfer is not just about money. It is about positioning. It is about preparation. It is about stepping into alignment with His plan. Many pray for abundance, but few are willing to do what is required to receive it. Many ask for financial increase, but they are not ready to manage it with wisdom, with faith, and with purpose. And that is why the breakthrough never comes. Because God will not bless what is not prepared. But today, that changes. Today, you are being called to see things differently, to shift your mindset, to open your eyes, to recognize that everything you have been facing is leading you to this moment. The struggles were never meant to stop you. The setbacks were never meant to hold you back. They were all preparing you, shaping you, refining you, making sure that when the financial blessing comes, you will be ready to handle it. This is your moment of decision. You can choose to remain where you are, waiting, hoping, watching others walk into their breakthrough. Or you can choose to step into alignment, to take action, to embrace the process that will lead you to the wealth transfer God has set aside for you. Because those who answer the call, those who prepare, those who position themselves, those who choose faith over fear, are the ones who step into divine abundance. But the choice is yours. Will you step forward, or will you stay behind? Will you move in faith, or will you allow doubt to rob you of what has already been promised? The time is now. The opportunity is here. But only those who are ready will step into it. What will you do? So many people believe that wealth is something that just happens. They think it is random. Some are blessed, and some are not. But that is not how God works. Wealth, just like everything else in the kingdom, is given with purpose. And before God places financial increase in your hands, He watches how you manage what you already have. Jesus taught this over and over again. The way you handle the small things determines if you are trusted with greater things. The money you have now, no matter how little, is a test. The opportunities in front of you, even the ones that seem small, are tests. And until you learn how to steward wisely, the breakthrough you are waiting for will not come. When Jesus taught, he did not separate faith from finances. In fact, he spoke more about money than almost any other topic. Not because wealth itself was the goal, but because money reveals the condition of the heart. He warned against loving money, but he also warned against poor stewardship. He told his followers that they must be faithful with what they have before they are given more. He gave the parable of the talents, where a master gave his servants different amounts of money before leaving on a journey. 2 of them took what they had and multiplied it, but one buried his portion, afraid to lose it. And when the master returned, he blessed the 2 who increased what they had, but he took away from the one who did nothing. This is a kingdom principle. God does not release financial blessings to those who are not ready. He does not bless wastefulness. He does not reward fear-based decisions. And he does not pour out wealth into hands that refuse to be responsible with it. Instead, he looks for those who trust him enough to handle money according to his word. There was a time when I didn't understand this. I believed that if I just prayed enough, God would send me a financial breakthrough. I worked hard. I asked for blessings, and I expected things to change. But every time I got close, something would happen. A sudden bill, a lost opportunity, a mistake that set me back. It felt like I was stuck in a cycle of just barely making it. One night I sat in my car, looking at my bank account balance, feeling completely hopeless. I had prayed, I had asked, but nothing was changing. And in that moment, something clicked. I realized that I was waiting for God to do something while ignoring what he had already told me to do. I was praying for increase, but I wasn't preparing for it. I was asking for wealth, but I wasn't managing what I already had. I was spending impulsively, making emotional financial decisions, and thinking that somehow wealth would just show up. That night, I made a decision. I stopped treating money like a mystery and started treating it like a responsibility. I made a plan. I cut out wasteful spending. I focused on what I had instead of what I didn't. I started learning about stewardship, not just how to give, but how to manage, multiply, and grow what God had already placed in my hands. And that was when things started changing. The moment I aligned myself with God's financial principles, doors began to open. The same opportunities I had lost before started coming back. The debts that once seemed impossible to pay off started disappearing. The things that once felt like setbacks turned into stepping stones, and I realized God had been waiting on me the entire time. If you're in a place where money feels like a constant battle, take this to heart. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you, but you must be willing to take responsibility for what is in your hands right now. Are you praying for financial increase but ignoring the way you handle money? Are you waiting for wealth while living without a financial plan? Are you asking for a breakthrough but still making decisions that keep you stuck? Because here's the truth. God will not release what you are not ready to receive. And he has already given the principles you need to walk in financial freedom. Jesus did not teach that money was evil. He taught that the love of money was dangerous. He did not teach that wealth was bad. He taught that wealth must be used wisely. He did not say that financial struggle was meant to last forever. He said that those who are faithful with little will be given much. But the key is faithfulness. Are you managing what you already have in a way that honors God? Or are you waiting for a miracle while ignoring the responsibility he has already given you? Because if you are ready to move forward, the path is already here. The question is, will you take the next step? Something inside you is shifting. You can feel it. It is not just a passing thought or a moment of motivation. It is something deeper. It is as if your heart and mind are waking up to a truth that was always there, but you never saw it clearly before. For so long, you believed that financial struggle was just part of life, that debt was something you had to carry, that no matter how hard you tried, there would never be enough. But now, you are starting to see things differently. What if God never intended for you to stay in financial stress? What if your struggles were never meant to last forever? What if the things holding you back, whether it is debt, fear, or doubt, are actually barriers that God is calling you to break through? You are realizing that wealth is not about chasing money. It is not about greed or selfishness. It is about positioning yourself for something greater. Because when you have enough, you are free to help others. You are free to live with purpose. You are free to step into the life God created for you. This is a turning point. The moment when you realize that waiting is no longer an option. You cannot afford to sit in the same place, hoping for change, but never taking action. Many people will recognize that change is possible, but they will hesitate. They will wait for a perfect moment. They will hope that their situation just magically improves. But God does not work through inaction. Every great breakthrough in the Bible came when someone stepped forward in faith, even when they could not see the full picture. And that is where you are right now. You do not have all the answers, and you do not know every step ahead, but you can feel it. This is your time to move. This is your time to break free from old thinking, to stop making excuses, to refuse to accept a life of just getting by. God is calling you to prepare. He is calling you to shift your mindset, to start making space for the wealth transfer He is preparing. But here is the real question. Will you act on what you now know? Because seeing the truth is one thing. Doing something about it is another. Many will hear this message, agree with it, even feel inspired by it, but then go back to life as usual. They will fall back into old habits, into doubt, into the same financial cycles. But a few, just a few, will take this as the sign it truly is. They will not wait until things feel comfortable. They will not hold back in fear. They will step forward in faith, knowing that if God is leading them, He will also provide. So what will you do? Will you take this moment seriously? Will you act on what is stirring inside you right now? Because this is not just another message. This is your call to move. You have prayed for change. You have asked for a breakthrough. And now, the opportunity is right in front of you. The only thing left is your decision. Will you move forward, or will you stay where you are? Your next step starts now. There comes a time in every journey when you are faced with trials so difficult, so relentless, that you begin to question everything. You ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Why does every door I knock on remain closed? Why does it feel like the harder I try, the more resistance I face? These are the moments that break most people. These are the seasons when faith is truly tested, when the weight of financial stress, uncertainty, and fear presses down so heavily, it feels almost impossible to move forward. Maybe you have felt this before. Maybe you are feeling it right now. You have done everything right. You have been faithful. You have prayed. You have worked hard. You have tried to be wise with your money. And yet, the struggles keep coming. Unexpected bills pile up. Opportunities seem to slip away just when you get close. The people you thought would support you have vanished. You see others succeeding, walking in abundance, and you wonder, why not me? The frustration builds, and doubt starts to creep in. This is where most people give up. Not because they lack talent, not because they are unworthy, but because they misinterpret the trial. They see it as a sign that they are not meant to receive the blessing, when in reality, it is proof that the blessing is near. No great calling comes without great resistance. No transformation happens without a breaking point. No wealth transfer arrives without preparation. What if the very struggles you are facing right now are not obstacles, but tests? What if God is watching to see how you handle pressure before He releases the next level of blessing? If you cannot manage difficulty, how will you manage increase? If a small setback makes you doubt, what will you do when greater challenges arise? Think about it. When a house is built, the foundation is tested before the structure can rise. When gold is purified, it must go through intense heat. When a tree grows deep roots, it must endure storms. And right now, you are being refined, stretched, and prepared in ways you cannot yet see. Ask yourself this. Have you noticed patterns in your struggles? Do you keep facing the same financial setbacks over and over again? Do the same fears, the same doubts, and the same limitations continue to appear in your life? That is not a coincidence. That is a sign. It means there is something you need to overcome before you can move forward. It means you are being tested, and how you respond will determine whether you break through or stay stuck. Look at how most people react to trials. They complain, they shrink back, they give up just before the shift happens. They let fear dictate their next move instead of faith. They see difficulty and assume it means they are not good enough, not lucky enough, or not chosen. But those who receive God's blessing understand something different. They know that struggle is a signal that they are on the right path. They know that the moment of greatest pressure is often the moment right before the breakthrough. If you are facing relentless challenges right now, I want you to hear this. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. What seems like delay is actually divine preparation. What looks like rejection is actually redirection. And what feels like failure is often the final test before everything shifts. But here is the key. You must endure. You cannot give up. You cannot let fear win. You cannot let setbacks convince you that God has forgotten you. He has not. He is watching. He is working. And He is waiting to see if you will push through or turn back. The struggles you are facing right now are not here to destroy you. They are here to reveal your strength, your faith, and your readiness for what is coming next. Every great blessing is preceded by a season of trial. The bigger the calling, the bigger the challenge. And the fact that you are facing so much resistance is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are being prepared for something greater. So what will you do? Will you allow the pressure to shape you, or will you let it stop you? Will you see these struggles as the end of the road, or as the final hurdle before your breakthrough? The choice is yours. Those who endure will see the promise fulfilled. Those who stand firm will step into the wealth transfer God has prepared for them. And those who refuse to give up will soon understand why they had to fight so hard to get here. This is your test. This is your moment. What you do now will determine what happens next. Will you pass the test, or will you turn back? The answer is in your hands. Chosen one, there comes a time when a message is not just heard, it is felt. This is that moment. Right now, you are being presented with a choice, a divine invitation to step into something greater. But with that invitation comes a responsibility. Because while God is shifting wealth, not everyone will receive it. Not everyone will recognize the signs, and even fewer will act on them. Think about this for a moment. How many times in life have you felt something stirring inside of you? A pull, a whisper, a deep knowing that something was meant to change, that God was leading you towards something bigger, but then fear stepped in. Doubt crept in. And instead of moving forward, you hesitated. Maybe you told yourself you weren't ready. Maybe you convinced yourself that the time wasn't right. Maybe you thought, I'll do it later. But later never came, and the opportunity slipped away. This is the moment where destinies are decided. The truth is, most people miss their wealth transfer, not because God never prepared it, but because they failed to prepare themselves. They were given signs, but they ignored them. They were given opportunities, but they hesitated. They were given doors, but they never walked through them. And so they stayed stuck, watching others rise, watching others step into the blessing that was meant for them. What if that doesn't have to be your story? What if today is different? What if this is the moment you break the cycle and finally step into everything God has been preparing for you? But here is the hard truth. Wealth will not transfer to those who refuse to move. It will not be handed to those who sit back, waiting for the perfect moment. It will not rest in the hands of those who doubt, who hesitate, who shrink back in fear. God does not reward fear, He rewards faith. The Bible tells us, to whom much is given, much is required. So ask yourself, are you ready? Because if you are not willing to take action now, what makes you believe you will suddenly be ready when the opportunity arrives? If you do not prepare today, how will you handle the increase tomorrow? The truth is, many will hear this message and do nothing. They will feel the conviction in their spirit. They will know deep down that this is for them, but they will close this video and go back to the same life, the same struggles, the same debt, the same cycles. And then they will wonder why things never changed. But then there are the few, the ones who hear this message and know, this is my sign. The ones who refuse to let another opportunity slip by. The ones who declare with faith, I see the signs. The ones who step out boldly, who trust that if God is calling them higher, He has already made a way. Which one will you be? Will you let this be just another moment that passes? Or will you claim what has already been set aside for you? Because make no mistake, wealth will transfer. But the question is, will it transfer to you, or will it pass you by? The choice is yours. What you do next will determine everything. There comes a time in every believer's journey when they stand at a crossroads. A moment where everything they have prayed for, every lesson they have learned, and every hardship they have endured comes to a single decision. Will they move forward in faith, or will they stay stuck where they are? Right now, you may be standing in that very moment. You have seen the signs. You have felt the shifts. You know something is happening in your life, but fear and doubt are trying to hold you back. You wonder if you are truly ready. You question whether this is really for you. But let me tell you something. This moment is not a coincidence. It is a test. Think back over the past few months, maybe even years. How many times have you felt like you were on the verge of something greater, only to retreat when things got hard? How many opportunities have you passed by because you let fear win? How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it when I have more time, when I have more money, when things feel right? But here is the truth. Faith does not wait for perfect conditions. Faith moves even when things seem uncertain. Faith takes the first step before the path is fully revealed. This is the moment where many people fail. They hear the message, they recognize the signs, and yet they do nothing. They go back to their old ways, holding on to doubt, making excuses, convincing themselves that maybe later will be the right time. But later never comes. Later turns into months. Months turn into years. And before they know it, they are still in the same place, wondering why their breakthrough never arrived. But the truth is, it was never a matter of whether God would move. It was always a matter of whether they would. So I ask you now, will you let this be just another message that passes you by? Or will you claim what is already being prepared for you? Will you step into faith? Or will you stay stuck in the same patterns that have held you back? God is already working. The doors are already opening, but He will not push you through them. You have to take the step. If you know that God is speaking to you right now, if you recognize that this is your moment of decision, I want you to make a declaration. Write it in the comments. Say, I will not stay stuck. Let this be the moment where hesitation ends and faith begins. When you write it, you are not just typing words. You are making a statement in the spiritual realm. You are declaring that you are stepping into God's plan. You are choosing to move forward. You are choosing to break free from fear, doubt, and delay. Do not let this moment pass you by. The people who step into wealth transfer, the ones who experience supernatural breakthroughs, are not the ones who just listen. They are the ones who act. Will you be one of them? Comment now. Say it. Claim it. I will not stay stuck, because once you declare it, everything changes. For so long, you have walked a path filled with uncertainty, wondering when things would finally shift. You have prayed, waited, and endured challenges that tested every part of you. There were moments when it felt like nothing was changing, as if your efforts were in vain. You may have looked around at others, questioning why their breakthroughs seemed to come while you remained in the waiting season. But now, you stand at a turning point, a moment where everything begins to align. Because what you did not realize in those trials, in those struggles, is that God was not denying you. He was refining you. He was shaping you, preparing you, making sure that when the blessing arrived, you would not just receive it but sustain it. God does not give wealth to those who are not prepared. He does not pour abundance into hands that will waste it, nor does He open doors for those who will not walk through them with wisdom. What you have endured was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to strengthen you, to equip you, to ensure that when your time came, you would be ready to handle the increase. Too many people pray for wealth, but when it comes, they lose it. They have no discipline, no understanding of stewardship, no vision for what to do with it. That is why God tests His chosen ones first. He sees beyond the moment. He sees who you are becoming. And now, after the struggles, after the lessons, after the refining, you are stepping into a new level of wisdom and financial clarity. Think about where you were when this journey started. The fear, the doubt, the stress that weighed on you. And now look at how far you have come. You may not have seen the full breakthrough yet, but your mindset has shifted. Your heart is stronger. You have been tested, and you are still standing. That alone is proof that you are ready. The struggles that once controlled you no longer have power over you. The fears that held you back no longer define your decisions. The obstacles that once seemed impossible now look like stepping stones. And that is the real treasure. Not just financial gain, but the transformation within you that makes you capable of handling what is coming next. But this moment is not just about you. Because when God blesses, He does not do it just for personal gain. He blesses to position you for impact. He pours out wealth so that you can become a vessel of His abundance, a testimony of His faithfulness. The increase that is coming is not just for comfort. It is for purpose. It is for breaking generational cycles of lack. It is for sowing into the lives of others. It is for advancing His kingdom in ways that only financial freedom can. That is why you had to go through what you did. Because only those who have faced lack can truly appreciate provision. Only those who have known struggle can truly steward abundance. Right now, a door is opening. A divine shift is happening. You have endured the tests. You have held on to faith. And now, God is moving. The opportunities that once slipped through your fingers will return. But this time, you will be ready. The financial burdens that once seemed impossible will lift. But this time, you will have the wisdom to never fall into them again. The fear that once controlled your decisions will fade, replaced by the confidence that you are walking in divine favor. But make no mistake, this is not the end. This is the beginning. Because what you do next with this breakthrough will determine how far it takes you. Will you embrace the wisdom God has given you? Will you walk in discipline, in faith, in boldness? Or will you let old habits, old fears, and old mindsets pull you back? This is the moment where everything shifts. If you are ready, if you believe this is your season, declare it now. Type in the comments, "I am ready for God's abundance." Let your faith be seen. Let your words align with the blessing that is coming. Because when you declare it, you step into it. When you believe it, you activate it. And when you move in faith, nothing can stop the plan God has already set in motion for you. Something shifts the moment you align your life with God's financial principles. It is like a heavy weight lifting off your shoulders, a burden that no longer controls your every thought. The constant pressure, the fear of the next bill, the endless cycle of owing more than you earn. It all begins to fade, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you changed. You are no longer operating from a place of scarcity, but from faith and wisdom. For so long, debt ruled your decisions. It told you what you could and could not do. It made you hesitate when opportunities came because you felt trapped. But now, things are different. You are no longer reacting to financial problems. You are proactively shaping your future. Instead of dreading your bank balance, you now manage it with clarity. Instead of feeling like money slips through your hands, you know exactly where every dollar is going, because you are stewarding it according to God's plan. You start to see things shift in ways you never expected. Where you once saw closed doors, you now see God's provision. Where you once felt like there was never enough, you now realize that God always provides, but you had to learn how to handle it properly. And because you have proven yourself faithful in the little, God is beginning to entrust you with more. It is not just about getting out of debt. It is about stepping into a new way of living, a new mindset, a new relationship with money that allows you to move from just surviving to thriving. Because now, you are no longer just working to pay off what you owe. You are building, investing, and expanding the resources God has placed in your hands. Imagine waking up knowing that you are no longer controlled by financial fear. No more waking up in the middle of the night, worried about how you are going to make it to the end of the month. No more avoiding phone calls because you do not want to hear another demand for payment. No more feeling like you are behind, watching others move forward while you stay stuck in the same place. Because now, you have stepped into divine financial wisdom. Your life begins to reflect a kingdom mindset. Money is no longer something you chase. It is something you steward. Instead of being weighed down by debt, you walk in freedom. Instead of being bound by financial stress, You make decisions from a place of peace and purpose. Instead of worrying about your own needs, you begin to bless others, giving freely because you know that God is your provider. And here is the most powerful part. This is just the beginning. Because when you prove yourself faithful with what God gives you, He does not just bless you with enough. He positions you for overflow. He opens new opportunities that were once hidden from you. He releases favor in areas where you once struggled. He connects you to the right people at the right time, and suddenly, what seemed impossible before becomes your reality. But it is not automatic. You had to pass the test. You had to shift your thinking. You had to apply the principles. And because you did, you are now ready for the wealth transfer God has been preparing all along. Now the question is, what will you do next? Because this breakthrough is not just about escaping debt. It is about stepping fully into the financial abundance God has prepared for you. If you believe this, declare it right now in the comments. I am ready for God's wealth transfer. Let it be a statement of faith. Let it be your first step into this new reality. And do not stop here. If you are serious about walking in divine abundance, you need to know how to multiply what God gives you. That is why your next step is critical. Watch the next video now, and let's go even deeper into God's wealth blueprint for your life. For so long, you may have thought that financial struggles were just a part of life, something you had to accept. Maybe you were told that debt is normal, that financial freedom is only for the wealthy, or that no matter how hard you work, you will never have enough. These beliefs have kept many people stuck, moving in circles, always striving but never arriving. But now, something inside you has shifted. Now, you see that your struggle is not your destiny. You were never meant to be trapped in debt, weighed down by worry, or constantly stressing over your financial future. God's plan for you has always been greater than you imagined. The trials you have faced were not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you. Every moment of frustration, every financial setback, every door that seemed to close, it all had a purpose. These were not signs that God had forgotten you. They were tests, refining your character, strengthening your faith, and preparing you to handle the wealth He is about to release. But here's the truth. Knowing this is not enough. Many people hear messages like this. They feel inspired. They believe change is possible. But then they go back to the same habits, the same routines, the same mindset, and nothing changes. Not because God is withholding His blessings, but because they refuse to step into what He has already prepared for them. So now you must ask yourself, will you be different? Will you take what you have learned today and put it into action? Will you shift your mindset from one of lack to one of stewardship? Will you start handling your money in a way that aligns with God's principles, proving that you are ready for increase? Because make no mistake, God will not release more into hands that are not ready to receive. This is your moment to break free. This is your moment to step out of fear and into faith, to stop living paycheck to paycheck, to stop letting debt control your life, and to take hold of the financial freedom that God has already made available to you. But the choice is yours. Most people will hear this message and do nothing. They will walk away unchanged, waiting for a miracle while ignoring the steps God has already given them. But a few, a chosen few, will take action. They will begin shifting their finances, managing their resources with wisdom, cutting off unnecessary debt, and positioning themselves for a wealth transfer that cannot be stopped. So, which one will you be? Will you let this be just another video, another message, another moment of inspiration that fades away? Or will this be the day you draw the line and say, enough is enough. I will no longer live in financial struggle. I will walk in faith. I will take action. I will receive the abundance that God has promised me. Your financial future is not waiting on God. He is waiting on you. The doors have been opened. The path has been laid. And now it is time to walk through it. The question is, will you take the first step? Take a deep breath and imagine a life where financial fear no longer controls you. A life where the weight of debt is no longer pressing on your shoulders, no longer dictating your choices, no longer keeping you up at night. Picture yourself waking up each morning with complete peace, knowing that your finances are not a source of stress, but a tool that allows you to move forward with confidence and purpose. The chains that once held you back, the fear, the doubt, the constant anxiety, are broken, not just loosened, not just weakened, but completely shattered. Because now, you are walking in the financial freedom that God has been preparing for you all along. This is not just about paying off bills. It is not just about watching numbers in a bank account grow. This is about a transformation so deep, so complete, that it changes how you see wealth, how you handle money, and how you walk in faith. No longer do you feel powerless. No longer do you feel trapped in a cycle of lack and limitation. Because now, you understand the truth. God's wealth transfer is not just about receiving more. It is about becoming the person who can steward more. It is about stepping into the divine principles of increase, faithfulness, and multiplication. And as you align with these principles, you begin to see the shift. You start making decisions with wisdom. No more reckless spending. No more financial choices driven by fear. You operate with discipline, strategy, and faith. You tithe with joy, knowing that God is your provider. You invest with confidence, understanding that He has given you the ability to create and multiply wealth. You no longer live in survival mode. Now, you live in overflow, and that overflow allows you to do what you were always meant to do. Bless others, give freely, expand God's kingdom, and live without fear of lack. The people around you start to notice the change. You carry yourself differently. You speak about money with confidence, not anxiety. You walk in expectation, not fear. And as you continue to grow, doors begin to open that once seemed impossible. Opportunities come, not because you are chasing them in desperation, but because you are positioned for them. God sees that you are ready, and He entrusts you with more. And when He blesses you, it is not just for you. It is for the generations that will come after you. The financial breakthroughs you are stepping into now are laying the foundation for your family's future. The lessons you have learned, the struggles you have endured, the wisdom you have gained, it all becomes part of your legacy. Can you see it? Can you feel the shift happening even now? This is not just an idea. It is not just a hope. It is real. It is the future that God has designed for you. And the moment you fully align with His financial principles, you will see it unfold before your eyes. No more debt, no more fear, no more living in lack. You are stepping into a new life, a new way of thinking, a new way of handling wealth, and it all begins with one decision: to trust that God's plan for you has always been bigger than what you have seen before. This is your moment. The past is behind you. The breakthrough is ahead. Your transformation is already in motion. But the question is, will you step into it? Will you claim the financial freedom that has already been set in place for you? Because God is ready. The only thing left is for you to say, "Yes, I am ready too." You have seen the signs. You have felt the struggles. And now, you understand that everything you have faced was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. The setbacks, the waiting, the unexpected obstacles, they were not delays. They were divine tests to shape you into the person who can receive and sustain what God is about to release. But here is the truth. Knowing this is not enough. Revelation without action leads nowhere. Now is the time to step forward in faith, to take real, intentional steps toward unlocking the wealth transfer that God has already set in motion for you. So what do you do next? How do you move from simply understanding these principles to actually walking in them? The first step is to shift your mindset. Stop seeing your struggles as punishment. Stop believing that you are stuck. You are not being buried. You are being planted. The second step is to start managing what you have right now with wisdom. If you cannot handle your finances at this level, how will you manage more? Track your income, control your spending, eliminate unnecessary debt, and develop a strategy that aligns with God's principles of stewardship. The third step is to take action on opportunities, even when they seem small. God often tests us with little before He releases much. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Move in faith. The fourth step is to surround yourself with wisdom. Read, learn, and seek guidance from those who have walked this path before you. The Bible says that wisdom is more valuable than gold. And finally, step 5. Declare it. Speak it over your life. Do not just hope for a breakthrough, expect it. Walk as if it is already on its way. because faith is the key that unlocks the door. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these steps do you need to take right now? Comment below. I am ready for my breakthrough. If you are committed to stepping into the next level of your financial freedom, your words have power, your action has impact, and your faith will make the difference. God has already set the transfer in motion, but only those who are ready will receive it. The question is, are you ready? You have now seen the signs. You understand the tests. You know that God is preparing you for something greater, but knowledge alone is not enough. Faith requires action. You cannot just hope for financial freedom. You must step into it. God's wealth transfer is happening, and those who are prepared will walk into His divine abundance. The question is, will you be one of them? If you are truly ready to take the next step, then do not stop here. Escaping debt is just the beginning. The next level is understanding how to multiply what God gives you. Too many people finally break free from financial struggle, only to fall right back into it because they never learned the principles of biblical wealth building. But that will not be you. In the next video, you will discover how to align with God's financial blueprint and step into supernatural provision. This is the part most believers never learn, and that is why they stay stuck. But now, you have the opportunity to unlock the next phase of your breakthrough. Click now to watch the video. Chosen one. Unlock God's plan for investing in wealth transfer. Do not miss what comes next, because this is where everything changes. Watch it now.